Okay, let's take it from the beginning here. I'm going to do my best to narrate how to make a full video or how to edit a full YouTube video from scratch. I'm going to use the my latest little DeWalt battery video here as an example, and I'm going to start it from the very beginning. So I'm working on the Backyard Builder series here, and let's go ahead and start with creating a simple logo. Now, you don't have to do anything special here, but I'm going to go ahead and run with just something to get started. I'll probably end up revising this later, but I'm using Photoshop, and you can slow down or pause or whatever and kind of watch where I'm clicking if I'm going too fast for you. For the sake of time, I got to kind of go a little bit fast. So basically, I'm just drawing a shape layer here on Photoshop. I just wanted to fill in the background. And right now, my objective is to just abbreviate Backyard Builder, so just BB. So I'm going to go ahead and start setting out some text here. And I think I'm going to run with the font EXO for this. EXO looks pretty cool when it's all stylized and everything else. So there's a million and one ways to skin a cat, so to speak, on Photoshop. So I'll just show you kind of my workflow, and you can kind of follow along. The EXO font is kind of similar to reminds me of like Tool Time or something like that from back in the day, which is pretty cool. So we can go kind of caps or lowercase. I kind of like the caps look. It's really kind of slick. So if we take off all of our dependency layers here, I'm going to kind of mess around with the way the shadow kind of looks here, and just kind of another thing when you're messing around with like drop shadow and some of the basic built-in stuff on Photoshop, I try to kind of get away from the default settings on it, because that's what everyone kind of does. It kind of makes it look kind of cheap. So yeah, it's just a little tip. But here's our BB. I don't want to get too complex with any of this. Really, this is just a matter of making a couple of letters here, but you'll see why I'm doing all this now. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to save this as transparent. So you basically just do a save as a PNG file, because PNG allows what's called alpha transparency. So even though that this is a square image, it will have transparency anywhere, so you can overlay this onto something else and it won't show the background. So we'll just call that BB for now. And actually, let's call it BB logo. Save that there. Drop to the desktop, and here's our little BB logo. So basically what I'm creating first is my logo sting. So I kind of have this little sting of like a saw kind of cutting some wood here. So I'm going to go ahead, and you'll kind of get an idea of what I'm doing here in a minute. The program I'm using here for this is Adobe After Effects. You can get this program on the Adobe suite, the CS6 suite, if you guys don't already have it. That's where you're going to use to edit most of this stuff, is the suite. I'm just deleting that off of there, and let's look at the main here. This is kind of what we're using, and if you need help with creating something like this, just give me a call. There's a million and one prefab things out there. We can make them from scratch. Really just kind of all depends on what you want, but this is actually using an image here, so let's go ahead and make kind of like, it's like a little bit of a grungy look. So let's go to a new file. We'll go, let's keep it high res. Let's just go like 200 by 300 to keep a rectangle. And since we're sticking with EXO as the font, and that needs to be a dark color, let's go ahead and kind of mimic that. And that's the website we are advertising. And let's go ahead and let's get it just about right there. And the effect that we're trying to achieve here with kind of this erasure style, I don't know what you'd call it, effect, that's you could do this a million ways. There's fonts that are set up to do it, but what I'll do is I'll just rasterize the type and make it full screen. And let's get in a little closer, and we'll use the brush tool. We'll change the palette on the brush tool so we can see these. And let's look back at this again. That uses like an eroding effect here. So it's pretty simple. You can, like I said, get into the brush. Something like this. Actually, it had some blur in it. Something like this will work. You want to fatten up your brush size and change your opacity and your flow rate on your brush to something like half. And then the trick is just to kind of experiment with this. So basically kind of just go through and erode it and get a little more flow on it. And this is really, you could spend a lot of time in Photoshop doing stuff, or you can spend a little bit of time. This is definitely not a lot of time here. We'll go back and redo it all, but you can, if you're doing this on your own or whatever, spend some time on this phase and just kind of, get it where you want it, and explore with the brushes and stuff that come built in with Photoshop, because there's a lot of really useful things in Photoshop. And the trick to like using like erosion is to kind of get it, some of this stuff you almost want to look really messed up, and some of it you want it to stay perfectly intact. And then this way it kind of looks eroded, more or less. So we'll turn that off and kind of look at that, and that's pretty cool. So let's give this a screen effect. That's not bad. I like that. So now for the production version, since I like this, I'll go ahead and recreate it. Put it there. Let's turn off our test, and we can actually use the eraser tool, and we'll go after that. Let me try this one. I don't really like that. I'll use the one we were using. Okay, so now I'll just go back through and do the same thing that you just did. And you could have started off with the eraser, but I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to do that or not, but you get the gist. And a lot of this stuff can be time consuming. It's really, do it on a rainy day when you got nothing to do, if that even exists anymore. That's pretty good. I'm not going to get too crazy with this. Okay, so turn off your background layer. You'll have something that kind of looks like this. Go ahead and save this as a PNG file. And get back into your After Effects program and drop this into your project panel. And let's go ahead and replace that with this one. And when you resize anything in Premiere or in After Effects, hold the Shift key and use your corner quadrants. That'll make your life a lot easier. Let's go back to the main now, and we can kind of see this is where it's going to kind of line up. So what we got to do is we've got some overlap, and it doesn't look that great. So just resize it. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, this will look really good. So now that we kind of have an idea what it's going to look like, let's look at I want to see what the BB looks like here in the frames. Can't see it. Let's see. Let's see what we're doing wrong. Let's make that BB black. I think After Effects is looking for it to be black. And let's see if it has a PNG. BB2. So let's take that, put that thing in there. We're going to replace this with the BB2. And we'll just do a quick resize on it. A little hard to work with the black After Effects background, but not too bad. It actually looks pretty cool. Let's see what that looks like in the frame. That's pretty sweet. I'm digging that. That looks cool. So yeah, let's run with this just for time's sake here. So you just go to composition, add to render queue, and your output module is typically going to be lossless. We can leave it at that. Really what I'm looking at here is I know my video is going to be 4K. So how you know that is if we go to, I shot all this on the iPhone on purpose, so we're looking inside of my iPhone here at these videos, and if we look at the properties of one of these videos, it'll tell us, let's see, it actually won't tell us on here. Let's go ahead and drag that video before we do this. I want to show you guys how you get the size of an actual video frame. Very important when you're doing video editing. Go to your properties when it's on your desktop, go to details, and here it'll tell you that it's 3840 by 2160. Your typical 1080p video is, it would be 1920 wide by, guess what, 1080. So this is double the size here. So what we want to do is make our output module 3840 by 2160, and this may take some time in After Effects, but it'll be worth it because we're going to use this over and over and over again. So let's go into here. Actually, no, that's not what we want. We want this one. Let's see if it'll allow us to resize it. 3820. That'll work. Resize quality is high. That's good. We don't want it to crop. We want it to be RGB. If you were doing titles or like a fancy, like when you're watching a video and you see kind of some titles come up on the screen, they animate and they go back, you would want to do something similar to this, but you would change this to RGB plus alpha transparency. And that's similar to the PNG file I was talking about earlier in Photoshop. So that would give the, anywhere that, wasn't text or wasn't, graphics, that would give that area behind it a transparent background so you could overlay it onto a video. But for this sake, we'll use RGB. And I'm going to call this good. We'll rename this to Backyard Builder Intro. It's going to save it as an AVI file. That's fine. Tell it to render. Looks like this particular project is a 250 frame project. So we'll let that run in the background as we edit our video, and it'll go ahead and render out a nice little video with the logo, and that'll be our opener. So let's get back down to basics. If you're not going to do an opener, obviously, I'll tell you guys to fast forward to 14 minutes into the video, but this is what you're going to do. So take your iPhone, and the first thing you want to do is set up a nice space on your hard drive. So I have a photo video work folder. This is the Backyard Builder. I'm going to go ahead and make a new folder on what the actual project is called. So this would be the DeWalt 18 volt to 20 volt conversion battery. Make a nice folder, whatever your project is, and inside of that folder you want to set up 3 separate folders. So you want to go photos, because you're going to hopefully take photos of your project before you take it all down. Take videos, and you're going to create an audio folder. The big thing about amateur videos and semi-professional videos when you're looking at them on the internet is the audio quality. It's something people overlook, but it's the most important thing. So I'll also tell you what to use for audio. I'm using a Zoom H1 pocket voice recorder set to 96 kilobytes I'm sorry, yeah, kilobytes per second recording wavelength, and I'm using a Sony omnidirectional stereo lav microphone. So it's a lot of fancy words. It's pretty much just a cool little mic that goes into a pocket recorder. You stick it in your pocket. So getting back to this, you're going to have 3 folders set up. So in your videos folder is where you're going to dump all your videos. So go into your iPhone, plug in your iPhone on your computer, and let's just do a master dump, which we're going to dump all this stuff into your desktop, which I did here. So to save time and transfer, this is everything that was on my phone goes into my desktop. So what I'm going to do now is right click, and I'm going to view by details, and I'm going to sort them by type, and it's going to show me all my JPEGs and all my MOV files, which are the video files on the iPhone. So let's select all of the MOV files first, dump those into videos. I also went on ahead before the video and I dumped my audio file. This is what the Zoom mic will spit out when you record a full audio track right here. So let's go and put that in audio. And let's go to photo and dump all the cool little photos we took. And these will go on the website, because everyone likes to look at cool photos. So let's close some of this junk out. Now, what I typically do is when you're dealing with, well, I guess it's easy to say, when you're dealing with a video that's, you know, one take, one audio track, you can sync up that stuff in post-production pretty simply just by kind of dragging things around in the timeline. But if you're going to start doing this for a quote-unquote YouTube career, or you're going to start making videos on the regular, I would highly recommend you invest in a program called Plural Eyes. This happens to be a program called Plural Eyes 4. And what this awesome piece of software does is it synchronizes audio and video files that are separate. So when I created these videos, I had my iPhone running the whole time, and it recorded this master video here. And this is going to be in a weird orientation, and I'll show you how to fix that.
I have the...
Here you go.
So...
Here's my...
Alright guys, this is the DeWalt
so you get the idea.
Kit for your...
So that audio really sucks. So we don't really want to use that, but I'm going to go ahead and dump the video, because that's the part we want. I'm going to dump the video into Plural Eyes and let that kind of analyze. The audio track that we're actually going to use is this one. This is the one that was recorded onto the actual charge on there. So I like that. I have, like I said, I'm in the Makita platform here, and these batteries also will show the charge, but you got a much better audio file. There's no background noise, there's no artifacting, it's all clean. So this is what we want to use, but how do you know where to put this audio file, and how do you know exactly where the audio is on your video? So this program does a really good job at auto synchronizing it. So the trick is to just let your audio recorder run when you know you're about to start your video. Just let that thing run in your pocket. It doesn't matter how long it is. Obviously you can see that from this timeline, the audio track, which is here, is much longer than the video track. It doesn't matter with this program. So let that run all the time. Start up your video. If you have multiple clips, start up your multiple clips. You'll dump them all in here, and you just simply hit synchronize, and in 2 seconds it'll synchronize the audio track with the video track, which is super awesome. So what do you do with all this? You want to export it to your timeline. You want to rename it Final Video, and you want to create a sequence with the audio replace. So you're basically telling this to get something ready for Premiere. You want it to build an XML file for Premiere that has all this data in here, but you want it to take out the old audio and you want it to put in the new audio. You just hit export. It's all set. You can close Plural Eyes, and now you have perfectly synchronized audio. So let's see, it looks like our render works. So let's take a look at that real quick. Or it worked or it didn't work. Didn't work. Okay. Got some troubleshooting to do. Okay, so yeah, anyway. Alright, let's get back to this. So it spit out our file. So let's go ahead and find our file here. Let's open up Premiere. and follow these steps closely. This will save you a whole ton of frustration. Go to New Project. We're going to call this the Backyard Builder. I create a new folder called Working Files. And select that folder. I'm going to name this DeWalt. DeWalt 18 volt project, and hit OK. Leave all this alone. You don't have to, I can teach you how to set all this, but I have a trick for you. Now you got a really crappy frame size. It's made from 1985. This is all garbage if you actually work with how this is set up right now. So you want to go ahead and find your XML file, this is what Pluralize just kind of spit out. Take it and put it in your working file folder. Now take it from the working files folder, drag it into Premiere, right here into your project panel, and it will give you a folder. Now you have a folder ready to go. Since our orientation was messed up on the final video because I was using it as an overhead setup and I didn't lock the orientation on the phone, go back to your files here and find any clip. These are just B-roll that I'm going to use. Take that clip, drag it into your project panel, and then take it and just drag it into your timeline. It's going to ask you to change the sequence settings to match what this video was recorded at. Hit yes, change sequence settings. Now you'll see that the entire frame is filled up with the entire video. This is set up to a 4K video frame size and it's ready to go. So you can delete that out of your timeline. Let's open up, there's two sequences here. This one says synced sequence replaced. That's the good track with the good audio in it. And here you go. So have the so here's our video. All right, guys. This is now all we have to do is just rotate this because it's the wrong frame size. So just double click it, flip it around the best you can, get that positioned in there. I really try to avoid making these a little bigger, but I'll stretch it to save time just so it fits. Bingo. So now is the DeWalt conversion kit for your old school 18. So there's your main video track. So now let's edit it. So this is the fun part. So I like to open up effect controls. These are all the attributes and everything pertaining to the layer you have selected. So effect controls handles this. So I can adjust brightness, contrast, motion, volume, you name it. So let's look at some of this real quick. So I have this little mess up that I have in the beginning. I want that gone. So let's watch it. I have the nope. So I know about right here is when I start. So let's just use this. You click on the layer, it gives you this little red thing. You just kind of hover around here. Just drag that right to this line. This is where you are in your timeline. You just drag it right up to your line. And then I drag this back to the beginning and hit play. All right, guys. This is the DeWalt conversion kit for your old school 18 volt DeWalt tools. And I know I have no edits in this entire video, so I'm not going to be cutting and splicing any of this. So this is just your typical, if you were to do a video on your phone and upload it to YouTube, this is how it would be. So you could technically render this thing out and let it rock and roll, but that's amateur. Let's kind of spice it up a little bit. So in my intro, actually let me figure out what's going on with After Effects real quick here. Let's see what happened. Let's drag this into our timeline and see if Premiere can read it. Oh yeah, it worked. Okay, it looks like it's cool. So let's do this. This is our timeline. This is set up in minutes and seconds. So this is our zoom feature down here. This little, it just looks like a scroller. This is actually the zoom feature. And you zoom by grabbing or pinching the end and bringing it in or bringing it out to zoom out. So and it'll center on wherever this timeline marker is. So what we want to do is drag this up I simply just drag this up and it'll create a new layer called Video 2. Video editing is all based in layers, so you can have a bunch of layers, it doesn't matter. Bring your track kind of close to the beginning because this is our intro, and I'll bring my timeline over here. Then I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to move my, this is all kind of, all this stuff here, these two audio tracks, the stereo audio tracks and the video, this is all meshed together, so if I move this, it'll move the audio with it. That's important. So let's take the main.avi file and kind of do this. So this is in front of it. So you're just basically taking that block of, or that chunk of intro, putting it in front of the video, and play it. All right, guys. Sweet. So I like that. So it needs sound effects. It needs a bunch of stuff, but we are on the right track here. So now, sorry. What we want to do is first let's bring in some audio. So I found a cool little song I'm going to use already. You can get any free audio on the YouTube Creative Commons Creators Studio in the back of YouTube, which is really just as simple as going to your YouTube channel, hitting Creator Studio. You hit this little button here called Create, and right here, Free Music. These are the tracks you want to use if you want to monetize your videos and you don't want YouTube to mute your video. So you got all the yeah, you get the point. And you just download them by clicking this button here. So I found a snazzy little track I'm going to use, but before I just drag this into my timeline, I'm going to go to Working Files, and I'm going to drag this first into Working Files. Then I'm going to drag it from Working Files into Premiere. Dump it. Everything gets dumped into the project pane. This is all your external files all get mixed up in here. So let's put the song right here to start off when the video starts. So this is obviously when the video starts. This is when we want the song to come in. If I wanted the song to come in later, I would do this. If I wanted to come in sooner, I would do that. And about right here, right about there is where we want to start dropping the volume of the song. So the way you would kind of do like a little bit of a volume drop is to, you're going to click on the audio track, the song that you want to kind of do a volume dump on. You're going to go over here to make sure your effect controls is highlighted. You're going to click on volume, and here's your level. So you want to go from, you're going to start off at 0 decibels, which is what it starts off as. 0 decibels is neutral. That's the baseline, typical volume. Neutral, you're not adding decibels to it. You're not decreasing decibels to it. You're keeping it at a neutral baseline. So that's where you're going to hold it at. So about right here is where we want the music to start to dip, since my voice track comes in kind of quick. So click on your level. You're going to hit the dot marker. So basically you're telling it from start to this dot, hold at 0 decibels. Then I'm going to just kind of advance the timeline a tiny bit right about where my video is going to come in, and I'm going to dot it again. And this, I'm going to do negative 25 decibels. So let's see what that did. All right, guys, this is the DeWalt conversion kit for your old school 18 volt. And about right there, we're going to do another volume drop. So if you look, you can see here's where our volume drops are in the track. So typical videos will start off with a louder intro. They'll have some kind of a sound effect in there to show that the wood is being cut. It'll drop, it'll do a volume hold, then it'll drop right before intro, and then it'll kind of lower itself down again as the video starts to kind of run. So let's hit another volume drop here. Let's drop this to negative 35 decibels just so you can hear the audio. So let's see what that's like. I'll take it from the top right here. All right, guys, this is the DeWalt conversion kit for your old school 18 volt DeWalt tools that took this kind of old style 18 volt battery pack. Not bad. So I like this. Now, what this video is lacking is B-roll. So with any video that you create, you're going to want to distract the viewer, or maybe not say distract the viewer, but you're going to want to keep the viewer interested. I guess that's the best way to put it. So you want to use kind of quick clips as much as you can. I mean, your typical movie will change visual trends. It'll basically visually change from scene to scene every 3 to 6 seconds. So next time you watch a movie for any length of time, just count how many times you see the same frame. You'll be hard pressed to get to counting to 5 before the camera changes angle, or they show a different cut, or they show the back of someone's head, so on and so forth. And that's done because the brain gets really bored looking at the same frame all the time. So I try to incorporate as much as possible B-roll into my videos. So what I'll do is I'll go back to look at my my video clips that I took, and I didn't take that many, but I got some good B-roll here. I got a lot of photos, but I'll use some of this B-roll and kind of speckle it in. Since we're highlighting this battery thing here, I'm gonna try to show a lot of the battery close up. People like to look at the close-up stuff on videos. So let's go back to see what I'm talking about here. All right, guys, this is the DeWalt conversion kit for your old school 18 volt DeWalt tools that took this kind of old style 18 volt battery pack. There you go, right there. I'm showing the back of this saw. So let's go to our videos here, and this is where I show the back of the saw. So I'm just going to simply drag this, since it has no audio we want to use, I'm going to drag this into my project panel, and I'm going to double click it, and it's going to put it here. If I just simply drag this onto my timeline, it's going to drag the audio and the video file. So watch. Audio, let me show you also, let me explain. Here's video files above that line. Here's audio files below that line. So if I drag this in here, don't obviously drag it on top of here because it's going to replace that footage with new footage. But if I go up, no, it's not going to let me. Let me add a layer. You add layer tracks by just right-clicking on here. Add tracks. I'm going to go ahead and add 10 just for fun, so we have room to play. If I bring this into video 5, it's going to put the audio in audio 5, and now it's going to have this really crappy audio in here. I don't want that. And if I try to move it, it's going to move that audio around, and we don't need the audio. So let's undo. And let's just drag the video portion of this. So you're going to use this little icon here that says drag video only. Use that. Drag that to where you want your B-roll. So let's look at this. All right, guys, this is the DeWalt conversion kit for your old school 18 volt DeWalt tools that took this kind of old style 18 volt battery pack. There you go, and this is where my B-roll is going to come in. So this is an aggressive B-roll transition. This just goes right to it, like a jump cut. Full battery pack. And if you're like me, I had these DeWalt tools kind of handed down from me. There you go. So that's, you can use that, but to soften it up a little bit, click to your effects panel and go to video transitions, go to dissolve and use cross dissolve. Put it on the front of it. So I just simply take this, I click and hold, I drag it, and I put it, let me zoom in so you can see it. I put it on the front of the track, and I put it on the back of the track. I'll shorten up the cross dissolve duration by clicking on this and bringing it front and back, and then let's watch that again. Style 18 volt battery pack. And if you're like me, I had these DeWalt tools kind of handed down from me. There you go. Lot cleaner, so it comes in and it kind of fades like that. See? Now, one other thing. This isn't a fix-all, but you'll notice if you're like me, it's got some jitter in it. Obviously, I'm not really using a slider, so I want to fix that. So I'm going to type in here to the effects tool. I'm going to type in stab, and that's short for warp stabilizer. So S-T-A-B, it finds stabilizer the fastest way that way. Drag warp stabilizer on here. So you're just going to, again, drag an effect onto the video clip and let it go. And it's going to say analyzing in background. And if we go over to the effects control tab and we look at what's going on, and we look right here, It's going to analyze this video clip, and it's going to look at all the frames, and I'm going to tell it to smooth the motion. I'm going to tell it to stabilize, crop, and auto scale. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to kind of clean that movement up a little bit. So these are kind of your above and beyond tactics, but I figured I'd show them in the video so you can kind of see exactly what to do if you want to make a kind of a semi-pro video on YouTube. So while that's running, let's keep watching the video and we'll find out where to put in our next piece of B-roll. I had these DeWalt tools kind of handed down to me from my dad, like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. They came in a kit. He never really used any of these two tools, but used the drill a lot. Used this light that it came with a lot. And basically he said, you know, you can have these, but I don't have any batteries for them. You got to pick up pick up a couple batteries. And at the time, none of the 20 volt max stuff was out. And I had... Oh yeah, should stop it here. This is all part of editing too. So if you don't have a lot of time to dedicate to editing, don't get involved with it if it's a longer video, because you want to, as horrible it is, you got to kind of listen to yourself talk so you know what to cut out. If you say too much stuff, if you mumble, you want to kind of edit all that stuff out. But this is the long and grueling process of video editing. So like I said, this is a seat of your pants type tutorial, so I'm taking you through the whole thing. So if you get bored, just fast forward and go to the good parts. But this is what it's all about. You gotta really watch the video and look at, you know, all the quality aspects of it as you go. Invested in a Makita platform already, and I priced those batteries out, and they were ridiculous. So just kind of shelved it for years, and I was stumbling upon, I was browsing on Amazon, and I stumbled upon this conversion kit, and conversion kit. So here's a lot of dead space in the video, but I really don't have B-roll the Makita stuff, so I thought it was super cool, so I wanted to kind of do a quick video and so you guys can kind of see what you get. So as I'm kind of BSing here, I could probably use some photos to kind of fill up this dead frame that just kind of holds there. So let me show you how to add photos to your project. And I took a ton of photos. So if you go to your project panel, take your photos, and I'm talking about the kit a lot in the beginning. So let's focus on the kit. So let's go into, take this picture, let's take this picture. This isn't bad. This isn't bad. So let's take these 4 photos, right? So I have dead space all in here. I had invested in a Makita. Yeah, so I'm talking about Makita platform already, and I priced those batteries out, and they were ridiculous. So let's start showing the pictures of the kit, because that's what the video is about. So I'm just going to simply take the picture, I'm going to drag it in here, I'm going to let it go. And these pictures, if I double click on it, you'll notice the frame's a little bit larger than it should be, and that's okay, as long as it's not smaller. So here's the image that came in here, and you could just simply do this. Those batteries out, and they were ridiculous. So, right, and then I can say, okay, I want maybe then let's see, this picture, or no, maybe this picture of the charger, and then I want this big, you know, overhead, this side view shot, you know, and I can go, okay, I want this one next, whatever, and you can kind of see what this will do. Those batteries out, and they were ridiculous. So just kind of shelved it for years, and I was stumbling upon, I was browsing on Amazon, and I stumbled upon this conversion kit, and I thought it was super. That's boring. It doesn't look good. I don't like it. It's too still. It's too just like, okay, wow, you put a bunch of pictures in a slideshow. So let me show you how to fix that. I have my first image clicked here. If you look, it creates a timeline of just that image here, just the lifespan of that image that's on the video. I'm going to take the timeline, I'm going to drag it all the way back to the left. I'm going to go to motion, I'm going to hit scale, I'm going to drop that down, and right now it's at 100% zoomed in. What you want to do is when you show pictures and video is you want to give everything in your video motion as much as possible. Even if it's a still shot, it's got to have motion. So they put stuff on sliders, they put stuff on panners, they put stuff on gimbals. It's the same principle when you get down to photo. So the simplest thing to do is what's called the Ken Burns effect. And what you want to do is first start off with your timeline on left to 0, hit the scale trigger, and then bring these photos I think are in this are in the frame for 4 seconds or 5 seconds, just take this, drag your timeline to the end. It'll show this next clip on here, but it's not really. You're still in this panel. You're going to hit the scale dot again, and you're going to type in 105. So basically what that's going to do is create a zoom. See that now? So let's do it to the next image, and I'll show you again what I mean. Motion, scale, again, dot the scale, call it 105. You want to just go up maybe 5% on the size. So basically a percentage a second. Motion, scale, and again here. Let's just use 3 images for this. I think 4 might be a little bit too long, so let's delete this one off. Now let's look at it.
Those batteries out, and they were ridiculous. So
there you go.
Just kind of shelved it for years. And
see how they move?
I was stumbling upon, I was browsing on Amazon, and I stumbled upon this conversion kit.
Now, let's add a cross dissolve. You can add effects to anything in Premiere. So let's do video transitions, undo stab, do video transitions, dissolve, cross dissolve, put it on the head of the first image and the tail of the last image.
Batteries out, and they were ridiculous. So just kind of shelved it for years, and I was stumbling upon, I was browsing on Amazon, and I stumbled upon
there
this
you go.
conversion kit.
So that's pretty cool. So that's how you want to do images if you drop them in. And if you don't have enough B-roll, use the image B-roll
kit. And I thought it was super cool, so I wanted to kind of do a quick video, and so you guys can kind of see what you get. This is how it comes from Amazon. Obviously, we've already opened it, but you get the charger, 2 of these little puny, I don't even know what the amp hour rating is on these batteries, but actually there it is right there, 2 amp hour. So 2 amp hour rating on these. They're not that great, I would say. Let me see here, I have a 18 volt Makita battery. This came with my little Makita drill years back, and I mean, this thing was a workhorse. I mean, they don't run a long time, but if it's anything like that, they're not too bad for what you get in the kit. This was like, I think right around $100. Comes with the charger, obviously 2 batteries, and the super cool adapter. This is what makes the magic happen. Now, if you buy this thing separately, it's going to be $40. So I did some kind of deductive reasoning and figured it would be probably best if I'm going to go get into a DeWalt platform, be a lot better just to kind of start off with the kit.
Okay. So I'm holding the little charger thing, and I'm talking about it now. So now I can start showing the good B-roll that we have. So let's go back to project, and let's see here. This is B-roll. Let's get... trying to find a clip that I can use. Let's see this one. That's a terrible clip. There we go, we can use that. Alright, so let's drag that in the timeline. Let's take that, double click it, drag your video here, throw a cross dissolve on the front of it.
If I'm going to go get into a DeWalt platform, be a lot better just to kind of start off with the kit, then upgrade these to like the 60 volt max or whatever, and then I can have 4 batteries kind of hanging out for low voltage needs or low use needs. Use
throw a dissolve on the back of it.
Use 60 for other stuff.
And give it a stab. Now this stabilizer should be done on this clip already here, so let's see if it smoothed it out.
Battery pack. And if you're like me, I had these DeWalt tools kind of handed down from me to me.
Alright, so we got our little B-roll in here.
And upgrade these to like the 60 volt max or whatever, and then I can have 4 batteries kind of hanging out for low voltage needs or low use needs. Use the 60 for other stuff. But this is basically what you get. This is the heart and soul of the kit. And this really, it's super self-explanatory, but this from this angle looks like one of the old batteries that you'd have, but it has an acceptance pattern back here for the new 20 volt.
Now you'll notice here the audio ran out. So we want to do is, remember we dropped this to negative 35 decibels. We want the same audio track again to come in. And here's the song that we used. And if we drag it into our timeline, here it is. But if we don't do anything to it, this is what happens.
That you'd have, but it has an acceptance pattern back here for the new 20 volt style. So these just simply hook into here, just like that. And you got a.
That's bad. So we want this to stay at minus 35 decibels. So the easiest way to do it is to go back to Effect Controls, click on this new audio track that we have, bring your timeline back to left. Always important to do that. Go to volume. You want your starting volume to be negative 35 decibels, and it will hold until you tell it to change. So now let's look.
Style. So these just simply hook into here, just like that. Now you've got a Sawzall rig that is now going to be quote unquote 20 volt. I know that these aren't really 20 volt; they're really 18. So let's dig in here.
Cool, right? So now,
at first glance, these batteries are.
All right, now we're talking about batteries, so I'm holding them up for a minute. I'm going to probably bring in some battery B-roll here in a second.
Are exactly what they are. They're just little tiny 20 volt batteries, but they do show the actual charge on there.
Cameo.
So I like that. I have, like I said, I'm in the Makita platform here, and these batteries also will show the charge, but you got to pay. These are almost $100 a battery. Now, granted, they are 4 amp hour, but you got to pay extra. Anything under 4 amp hour with Makita, you don't get the battery gauge on here. And I'm building a deck right now, and I've actually used that quite a few times to see where I'm at with regard to power and where I need to be on charge. So, nice little feature with these batteries. So.
All right, batteries. So that's enough. That's enough looking at the batteries. Let's use another B-roll. Almost made my own mistake here. Drag the video clip only. Dissolve. Stab. It's going to be a short piece.
I like that a lot. So you get the 2 battery.
Ooh, that's a short one. Where else do we have batteries? Batteries. I guess we can use this one. It's a short clip. Should have took a longer clip. I mean, you'll figure it out after you've been doing this for a while. I've been doing this forever, and I still don't ever get enough footage.
These basically are as simple as any.
I like that. And let's give that a dissolve. Let's also throw Stabiliser on that. You can fake a slider pretty good with Warp Stabiliser if you don't get too shaky with your video. Sometimes it'll distort it, but for YouTube it's good.
Any lithium ion setup now, they just clip in and you're ready to go. So
actually, when I do clip in, you're ready to go. That's when I'll use this B-roll. So there you go, clip in, ready to go.
Now they just clip in and you're ready to go. So now you got.
Ooh, running it though. Yeah, video editing.
Now you got. I mean, I don't think this Sawzall seen life in 5 years. Now it's ready to go. I mean, this thing's barely been used. So it went from just sitting in my attic to now actually being able to be a part of the construction family here.
Okay, that's cool.
So really
I'm trying to think if I should add any more B-roll there or not. It's kind of a cool clip. We can use that. Our folder's open here.
Part of the construction family here. So really cool. What I'll probably end up doing now that I kind of have a rig to start off with, I'll
blah 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 blah.
probably end up getting another one of these so I can just leave these permanently in the machine.
Another thing, a lot of my videos are long-winded, and it's kind of a tactic. If the more minutes watched you get on YouTube, the more money you're going to make. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. So, you're I guess your amateur expert for YouTube will tell you, keep your videos a minute or less, and it's a lot better, and it's and then whatever. That's good for user retention, and that's good for websites. That's good for product promos, so on and so forth. But if your true goal is to inform the consumer, and it's to generate revenue on YouTube, then kind of long-wind your videos up. Get them stretched out a little bit, because the more minutes watched you can get out of each video, the more revenue you're going to gain, and the larger the partner share, the piece of the pie you're going to get after your channel matures.
Machines that they're going to, granted they're not going to fit in the case, but that's pretty cool. Same story with the circular saw here. So, I mean, if you guys are on the fence about upgrading to this stuff, I think it's pretty awesome. It seems like the price point on any of this DeWalt stuff is a hell of a lot cheaper than the Makita stuff. I mean, it's all, it's all on what your preference is and what platform you're on. But again, it's a lot cheaper. I'm partial to Makita just because I started off with that platform, and then I kind of expanded the collection over the years.
Okay, I'm kind of fidgeting around with the equipment here, so let's throw in. Did we use this yet? Oh God, it's the one where I drag the camera on the ground. That's not good. I guess we can show that one again. Did we use that already? Let's use it again. Why not?
It's a lot cheaper. I'm partial to Makita just because I started off with that platform, and then I kind of expanded the collection over the years. So I don't want this to be a DeWalt commercial or a Makita commercial. It's just mainly meant to show you what this is. But in terms of practicality, you're going to get a lot more tool.
Oh yeah, and another thing I do in my videos is I try to give my opinion on stuff, and you'll get your negative comments, you'll get your positive comments. It doesn't really matter, but if you show opinion, it shows that you are a person and you're natural, and you'll tend to get more subscribers that way. So, just a good tip. So now I notice my song is about to kind of run out here, so I just did a copy on this because I already have my volume drop where I want it. I'm going to click way out here in the wastelands of the timeline. I'm going to paste it twice. Control V, Control V. So let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. Let's drag this where we want it. Here. Actually, we didn't need a second one, so we can delete the second one. That's perfect length. That's what we want there. Another thing I noticed here before I go any farther with the edit is, on this intro, I want to get like a saw making a cutting noise, and I could probably go tape this real quick, but let's just check. In the YouTube section, there's a sound effects section. So let's see if they have a saw. Smaller, yeah, they got a lot of stuff here. So let's see if anything would fit the bill. Nope. I got a wet meat cutting saw, cutting and peeling. No. That's all I got. Oh, it's terrible. I'm gonna have to go tape a saw cutting. Man. Nothing good. Cutting flesh, cutting fruit. This is really weird that this is on here and not an actual damn saw. Alright, well I guess I gotta go make a saw clip. Alright, let me pause the video and go cut some wood. Okay, I'm back. I just recorded a cool track here. I went and cut some wood. And I cut a couple of different times so I can get the duration correct on the video. So let's take this, drag it into our working files, drag this into Premiere. Let's look at our intro and let's start playing around here. And this is kind of what video editing is here. So let's drag this audio track in here. Let's kind of zoom in. Let's look at here's every time I cut. You can look at your audio and wavelength. So first thing we want to do is trim the head off of that. It's just junk. And let's look at when this thing starts to spin. Right there, it's spinning. Right there, it starts to spin. So let's start doing this here. Let's try and see if this works. Nope. Let's find a good where what I'm trying to find, and you can turn off the song so we don't have to hear the song right now just by clicking this little speaker button. Let me find a spot in my new recording where I don't have the saw on, and then I turn it on. Bring this over here. This is cool. So right here. Right. I'm looking at the blade. Right before that. Right there, the saw turns on. Let's see if this works. Ooh, started cutting too soon. That works there. Simply don't have the saw running long enough here. Let's see if I can get a little more length out of the saw startup. That's where it starts to cut. So this would... Alright, let's try and see if this works. That's pretty cool. Alright, I'll take that, I guess. I wonder if I can just... A little time right there. I should have ran a little longer. You guys can cut all this stuff out. This is really the really boring stuff about editing. Alright, let's the only thing I could do, I like when this thing kicks on, so let's cut the kick on out of the video by using the razor tool. Let's put the kick on when the actual saw kicks on, which is right there. So, And then let's take a piece of this audio. I'm going to copy it. And when you paste stuff, you got to go way out here. I hate that. It's in here somewhere. You gotta drag it over here. Let's put that audio in here. Let's fill that gap in. Let's see if this works. Yeah, all right, you can't even notice it. Cool, that works. So play it from the top. Sorry to bore you with all this.
All right, guys, this is the DeWalt.
Cool, and then let's just do a audio transition off the back of that audio track called Exponential Fade. Put that there. That'll just get that audio to have like a nice clean out. And that's good. So we can wrap up the video, I think. Let's go on to the last part of this here.
You're going to get a lot more tool for your money when you go.
A lot
to
more
DeWalt
tool
platform.
for your money. That's certainly true.
Red has been a little bit more reliable than the new stuff.
Okay, so the last thing I do with videos, for some reason the yellow isn't as vibrant as I'd like it to be. So let's do a little bit of really light color correction. Let's go into effects. Doesn't look like there's a lot here, but there's a lot here. Let's go to video effects. Let's go to, I like to use something called Red Giant Colorista. It's not, actually let's use the stuff that's standard. Let's go to color correction. Let's go to three-way. Actually, we could probably use RGB Curves for this. So let's drag RGB Curves on here. This is built into your Adobe Premiere. If you can, get Colorista because it's really awesome. But what we'll do here is we will mess with the master curves, the master color curves. So if we mess with red, it'll make it really red and ugly. If we mess with blue, it'll make it blue tinted or green. Green, it'll go really green. You don't want to mess with those. Let's use the master curve. So let's bring these are your darks, these are your highlights. So shadows, highlights. Let's bring in your darks down a little bit, kind of crush those blacks. Let's kind of create an S with this. What it's going to do is see how it makes that DeWalt color really kind of pop like a sunrise. That looks really cool, and it kind of crunches down the blacks. It looks real kind of slick.
Okay, this old school stuff is.
So let's look at that. Let's see how the rest of it looks.
Makita battery. This came with.
Oh yeah, I'm playing at 1/8. Let's play at full resolution.
With my little.
Yeah, by the way, I shouldn't overlook that. This little thing here, depending on how fast your computer is, you can play back at full resolution if you have a really kick-ass computer. I have a dedicated GPU on this, and I'm running a Intel i7 Skylake processor, 6400 gigahertz, I think. It's pretty good, pretty fast. I'm running also on an SSD disk drive. I have a Samsung Evo Pro 500 gig SSD. SSD disk drives make all the difference in video editing. So if you're going to do this, pick up or build your own. That's what I did. I built a computer with an SSD setup in it, and then I used big, regular old school hard drive for like the storage space section. So faster computer, you can play back at a higher resolution while you're scrubbing.
Makita drill years back.
That looks really good. I like the color. Everything kind of crushes down nice. I bring it back down to quarter so we can kind of be faster with the edit. So let's watch the last thing we want to do here, and that's to incorporate something called titles. Now, titles are done two ways. You can use the built-in title editor. So for the sake of this video, I like to make all my titles in After Effects so they're animated and all that stuff. But for this kind of video, I just want some still titles that are sitting on the screen. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that. So you go to Title, New Title, Default Still. Leave all this kind of standard. That's the same size as your screen. You use the text tool. And let's see, we're talking about the DeWalt. So you use your text tool, you draw a square. DeWalt, you can kind of see really small here. It uses the standard crap fonts. This is where you can adjust all your fonts. So impact looks really good on videos like this. Let's change the color to white. And actually, select all and then change the color to white. So let's do DeWalt. Oh yeah, they make the E a little small. So let's kind of mimic that. So I just highlighted the E. Actually, let's get it the size we want first. Take the E, make it smaller. I'm looking at this right here. DeWalt. Shit, hold on. Let me make it a little bit smaller first. I'll fix the E. You don't want it to take up too much of your screen size. DeWalt. 20 volt. And then I'm going to go conversion. Kit. It's cool, and then I'm just highlighting this text, and I'm going to just kind of drag this around to where it matches, and it looks nice and clean, just like that. Cool. And then it's pretty good. I like that. I'm not going to have too many pop-up titles and stuff here, so to put that in the video, go back to your project panel. It makes this little video thing here. I'm going to make it come in right when my talking starts. I'm going to make it stay on the whole video. And then I'm going to also brand this thing. So if someone tries to rip it off, which I know you'll be surprised how many times your videos appear on websites that you don't want them to appear on. So why not get the credit? Control A selects it all, and then you can just make it smaller, just like that. Thebackyardbuilder.com. Put that there. Another thing to pay attention to. See these squares and this square? These are your outer bounding area here. This is what YouTube is going to show. They're going to show a true 1920 by 1080 screen size, or it's called a 16:9 ratio. This outer square, keep all your titles on the perimeter of the outer square. This is where your TVs are going to typically cut off your video. If someone watching this on a TV or a larger monitor, for some reason it cuts off YouTube videos, so that's why they have these in here. Keep your titles inside this outer square, and you won't have any cutoff issues. Quick tip. That's good. I like that. So now your video will look like that. It'll have these titles overlaid on it, which is really nice. So as your look at some of the B-roll, it's really cool.
Mainly meant to show you what this is, but in terms of practicality, you're going to get a lot.
Yeah, there's your kind of slick professional video. So the last thing, oh yeah, let's make that come in on a dissolve. So let's go to video transitions, cross dissolve the front of it, cross dissolve the back of it, and also cross dissolve the back of your video. And I'm going to show you how to end your video and ask for subscribers. So let's go to the end of the video, or the tail. And here's how the video ends.
Let me know, and yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Later.
Boom, and it just goes to a black screen. And that sucks. Because if someone actually watches the whole 8-minute and 15-second video, you made some money on YouTube. Congratulations. But also, that's your chance to ask them to subscribe to your channel. So what I want to do is just do a simple website plug and ask them to subscribe to the channel. So you could do a title just like I showed you how to do. You would just create a new title and you would drop it in here in the back of the video and call it a day. But what I want to do is something a little bit different. And this is where After Effects will come in. So let's close this project. Don't save it. We don't care. We're not going to need it again. let me go into my my little box of tricks here, and I can, of course, if you're watching this, just email me or message me, and I'll help you out with some of this stuff. Video editing tools and titles. I got some cool like box frame white titles that I use, and I use these for a lot of clients and stuff like that, but it gives a really cool effect, and I think that this is what we want to do at the end. We want to ask for people to subscribe to us, but we want them to kind of do this when they come in, you know, something kind of fancy. And there's I got a whole bunch of them in here, but this is the one I was thinking about right here. And since we're using the impact font, let's go ahead and edit this. So let's go ahead and edit this title. And this is a simple, if you take away all the scary parts about this whole thing and just look at some of the key areas. This area here is where we're editing. These are the layers, so all these match our actual title. And then this is our font controller. So let's go impact. Let's, letter spacing is weird. Let's adjust the letter spacing out a little bit. Follow our channel, or visit our website. And then let's change one of our clients, Golfview Team. Let's change that to that's way too long. Ooh, what'd I do? Oops. Let's highlight that and go to impact. And that's almost the right size we need, but let's tweak it a little bit. Like that. And let's move this centered. And move this centered. And I'm just eyeballing it. You can turn on the grids and stuff, but you don't need it. Video presented by there. Little company promo. And let's go to our control layer and go to our material options. And actually, no, that's not. This one. Oh, it's been a minute since I've used this one, but let's see. Let me see if I can adjust the colors right on here. Nope. You can't just, in After Effects, you can't just change the color of stuff. You gotta use control layers. And I didn't make this particular title pack. So I will tell you how to edit it once I figure it out. And these are the wrong spot too. I'm glad I'm doing this in real time so you can kind of get an idea of how long or short this is going to take you to edit the right way. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I want to change these to a black. So I'm just going to click on the colors of everything. And we want it to be black. I don't know why it's not changing. Don't pay attention to this part of the video. I don't use this one all the time, so I don't know why it's not changing for me here. Okay, well, alright, let's just use this for now. I'm not going to mess with it. I don't know why. I think something's wrong, because it should be changing it on my expression color. It's not. I'm not sure why it's not. It goes back to change there. There we go. Let's set the follow our channel. It's done. Let's set the visit our website. Alright, now you're going to go to File, Export, add to Render Queue, change your settings from lossless to RGB plus alpha, change the save name to ending or ender or whatever, check for spelling errors, follow our channel. Cool. And then you hit this button here, render. And we'll go ahead and render it up. That little chime tells you it's done. It's going to spit it out right here. Take it and go to your let's see, go to your folder Working files, Ender, and then drag that into your Premiere. Nope. Now drag that into your project panel. Take a second. And you're going to put that on the tail. So it'll do something like that. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's see.
Guys, later.
And there's no music at the ending, which is a good thing and a bad thing. So let's take another track. Let's paste that at the end. Let's go ahead and zoom out so we can see. Let's put that here.
We all go to Amazon now, pretty much for everything, so you can just search for it. So I'll type it down below, and if you have any questions, comments, something you can do better, let me know. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Later.
That's cool. So let's just take out the volume drop in it. Go with -20.
Oh, and if you have any questions, comments, something you can do better, let me know. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Later.
Okay, so instead of them just seeing boring stuff, let's show one more clip of this again, just for the hell of it. So take Ender and move it up one layer, and take your ending clip, put it there, shorten up how long Ender's on the screen, and let's also shorten up how long that audio track will play. Let's bring the back end of that track just past the ending of the clip. Let's go and give it an audio transition of an exponential fade. That'll fade out the song. Then let's give this clip back here. Let's blur it out. So let's go to blur. Type in blur. It will give you camera blur option. Bring camera blur option on there. And let's lessen the blur a little bit. That's awesome right there. And let's stabilize it. You could have just copied the one that you already stabilized, but what the hell. Do that, and this, I think this is too small. I think I exported it too small. Let's go ahead and change the size of it, if it'll let us. Oh shit, let me just do it. Hold up. I don't know what I just did. Wow. Really professional, Brian. What was it? Add to render queue. Let's try this again. Resize to RGB plus alpha. Okay, render. Let's put it a little bit bigger. So we're uploading this video in 4K. So take a little bit longer to render the 4K stuff, but it just looks so much better. Okay, let's go back into Premiere. I'm going to replace this with the new one. As soon as it's done, we're going to put it in working files. We'll get ready for it. Oh, wait, hold on. I screwed that up too. God damn, I'm doing not too good today. Unqueue all of these.
Right there.
Okay, here's our new ender. Drag this into working files, replace it. Or not. Won't let you. Dump that in there. Drag that into your project panel. It's open. Let that sync up, and then we'll replace that small clip with the large clip. And we should be good to go. That's a little higher res. Blow up a little bit bigger. Cool. Nice, looks good. And then dissolve the title out and dissolve the B-roll out so it does a nice little fancy ending. I like that. And is this done stabilizing? It is. Okay, so that is your video. God, this was a long video to make. Such a fast edit. Now, you should get pretty good at these. If you have any questions, definitely ask them, and I will try to help you. But for the sake of you not hearing me talk anymore, I appreciate you watching, and yeah, later guys. Later guys.